Now, what do I think is going to happen in 2026? Here are my quick predictions. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Chuck 130. Now it's that time of year again. Let's see how I did with my market predictions from last year for 2025 and see how that actually turned out, and I'll give you my predictions for 2026. But this is what I was saying at the end of 2024. Check it out. Let's go mortgage rates. I think they will stabilize around 6%, which is higher than historically low rates that we've seen a few years back. But this is the new normal. And buyers in the marketplace are now starting to understand that this is what rates are. Number two, prices. If rates go down, as I think they will, prices will go up. I hear somewhere, I think I was in a class or something, but for every 1% of rate decrease, prices go up 5. And I think prices were going to go up this year, depending on what the rates drop. So what do I expect this year in price increase? 5%, the max of what I think is going to happen. Now, housing inventory. So for buyers finding anything, I do expect inventory to increase compared to last year. This means more choices and hopefully less competition. Here in the Chicagoland area, we'll see what happens on how many people. This all depends on what happens with families that have those 3% interest rates, if they're willing to sell or not. Now, first, rates, I said we'd stay around 6%, and guess what? We did. Not 3, not 4, not 5, but mostly mid-6s this year. It was stable. That one held 100% correct. Now, prices. I said prices were going to go up, but not like the previous years when things were crazy, and that's exactly what happened. Modest gains, some flat markets, even some declines, but overall, up. 100% correct on that. I also said prices wouldn't jump more than 5% as a whole. Now that actually, I was incorrect because it actually went closer to 10%. But, you know, it went double than what I thought it was. What do I think is going to happen in 2026? Here are my quick predictions. A lot of data right now is pointing to something that we honestly haven't said in a while. Now, nationally, the housing market is starting to feel like a return to 2019. Not identical, not a rewind, but the rhythm of the market is closer to what normal used to look like. What matters here in Chicagoland, we want to make sure that it supports the story, and it actually does. Now, let's start with inventory. Month supply, because inventory that's what changes everything. According to InfoSparks and MRED, Chicagoland single-family months of supply was extremely tight from 2020 to 2022. Now, over the past couple of years, that number has been steadily moving up. And by 2025, we're back in the range that looks more balanced than where it was the last couple of years. But that doesn't mean we're oversupplied. It means that buyers have more options than they did the last couple of years. And sellers no longer control every situation automatically, and this is more of a healthy market. So my prediction 2026 is that Chicagoland inventory stays slightly higher than the last few years, but truly below what oversupplied is. So we'll have more choice, but in the best neighborhoods, it could still feel seller advantage. Now, when supply normalizes, you feel it immediately in the pace of the markets. Now, days on market. Looking at the 5-year Chicagoland single-family data, you can see that the rush era where homes sold almost instantly as we moved into 2024 and 25, days on market climbed back up towards normal levels. That changed expectations for everybody because buyers can think again, sellers need to price and present correctly. Speed alone doesn't win. So my prediction is it will stay stable or slightly longer days on market in 2026. The best homes will sell, but average homes still need strategy, not hope. Now let's talk about price because that's where people get confused. Chicagoland median sale prices has steadily risen over the last 5 years. We see strong appreciation through 21 and 22, but instead of crashing afterwards, prices held firm in 23, 24, and 25. Now that tells us something important. The market absorbed higher rates without falling apart. So my prediction on price for 26 is no dramatic pricing. What I do expect is strong appreciation, values hold, overpricing homes, will correct itself, but it won't crash. And then there's a wild card, mortgage rates. In the last week of November 2020, mortgage rates were about 2.7%. In 21, it was 3.1, 22, 6.6, 23, 7.2, 24, 6.8, and then 25, 6.23. Now here's why this matters. When rates fall from about 6.8 to below 5.8%, research shows about 5.5 million additional households suddenly qualify to buy. And that could drive around, a little bit more than 500,000 additional home sales nationally. That demand doesn't disappear, it waits. So my prediction for 2026 is that if rates drift to the mid-5s at any point, Chicagoland buyers actively pick up quickly, especially in the $350,000 to $700,000 price range. And it can happen fast. So the big takeaway is simple. We're not in the chaos market anymore. We're in the plan your move market. In 2026, strategy will beat speed, preparation will beat timing, and local knowledge will matter more than national headlines. If you want me to break down what this looks like for your specific neighborhood and your price point, hit me up, DM me, call me, text me, and I'll map it out for you. Those were my predictions for 2026. We'll see how I do later in 2026, but for everybody, have a great rest of your weekend. Have a happy new year, and I hope to connect with all of you soon. Cheers.